Hello, Minecraft fans and fellow Christians. Just thought I would be hanging around a little. Hopefully you don't mind the pun. But anyway, this brings me to one subject. Oh, sorry, my parachute was lagging. Normally it would be visible. But anyway. Now this brings me to one topic. I just came back from the moon. And I thought I'd at least let you know a little bit of how it works. Essentially, since I launched from here before, and my base was built next to it, and I happened to launch from the corresponding spot on the moon, I happened to land near it. Now, I have a chest that came down with me, or at least is supposed to come down with me, that has my rocket and launch pad. It wasn't the moon lander as it was on the moon, but anyway. Here it's expendable, but anyway, might have went in the ocean. But anyway. I thought I had the buggy here. Oh well. Like the rocket, it can have some extra storage. Now, here is what it looks like. I typically don't need it. I'll just walk or float around till I find a given location. But anyway. Now, how to craft it? Well, like the tier 2 rocket, you need a schematic. And then, well, okay, I've already got all of them. But anyway. You need to put it here, or shift click it, and then click the unlock schematic. But whatever you do, don't accidentally click the back button before you click the unlock schematic. Some versions will accidentally make you lose the schematic and however much work you put into it. However, luckily some versions will just drop it back in your inventory. Now, you can just craft the moon buggy here. I've already got the parts. Oh, whoops. I'm sorry. I forgot. Okay. You need to craft the wheels like so. And here's the seat that you sit in. And this is the storage box that you would see on the back of the thing. I guess I would need a couple of those. Oh well. Moon buggy. And you craft it like so. And you craft the fueling station like so. And it's just the same basic fuel loader here. And oh yes, that is for later in the video when I get a certain resource from Mars. Oh, my mistake. Oh, whoops. Oh well. Now on to the next thing. What can you do with the meteoric iron? Well, after smelting it, you can compress it like so. Meteoric iron. Essentially, this takes 2 at a time and puts each one here. And then you can compress it with your tier 1 heavy duty plates and the tier 2 heavy duty plates. And for well, 1 second. Sorry, I simply forgot to put a chest for the rocket parts. But anyway, the only difference that you have to include from the tier 1 are these rocket boosters, and of course the heavy duty plates. You need 10 of them. Now you need 2 of the tier 1 boosters, and you craft them like so. Each tier booster, well, 1 booster, needs a fuel canister. It has to be full, otherwise it won't work. And another thing you can do with your compressed meteoric iron is actually craft these sensor lenses. And with these sensor lenses, you can also craft a sensor glasses. which detects ore. Now, my bases are out in the ocean, which means it's not the best location for this, but 1 second. If I go to a random island or something, all I have to do is put this in place of my helmet, and if I dig deep enough, it'll detect ore like so. Now, it doesn't matter to me what ore it is, but anyway. Now, sadly, it can't distinguish between coal ore to diamond ore, so sometimes you'll have to just see what it is in order to figure out what it is. Now, I might as well show you the rocket parts, where they go. About the same as a tier 1. And like before, you can put in 3 chests, whatever you want. Now next, might as well put this way. Okay. Now next, I mentioned these electric furnaces before. This is the normal one that you can craft about the time when you start off with, but it's not as good as an arc furnace here. Essentially, you craft an electric furnace like so, and then you can craft it into an arc furnace, essentially an upgrade. And the arc furnace not only is faster than the original one, which is probably about the speed of a normal furnace, but it also doubles the output. If you put in 1 iron ore, it'll double it to 2. Now I gave the slower one a head start, but it should be outputting iron ore. Well, I'm sorry, iron ingots. Sometimes I really do get myself confused. I'm sorry, lag seems to be affecting me today. I don't know why. I gave it some extra memory to use. 1, 4. See? It is faster. It did 2 iron ore in the time it took the electric furnace to do 1. But anyway. Now, the next thing, I think. Wait, no. Okay, that's later. Now, next, it seems as though we'll be going to Mars. I'll save you the time of having to watch me go out of space and just show you when I get to the map. Hello again. This time, in order to get a tier 3 rocket, we'll be heading to Mars. Now, normally, Mars would have 2 moons, Phobos and I can't remember the name of the other one. I think it began with an M. But anyway, don't know why they excluded the 2 moons. In past versions, more planets possibly include them. But anyway, what you're looking for is on Mars. And after we're done bouncing around, we'll just simply see what we can do. Sorry for the lag. I don't know really what's going on. Okay. Now, this is the red planet. Everyone's favorite red-colored planet, I suppose, but anyway. Particularly, I don't like red, but anyway, that's me. Now, here's a sludgeling. Well, okay, that's not their actual name, but anyway, let me get something a moment. You can actually find these eggs. They're not meteorites. You can find red ones, blue ones, and yellow ones. Possibly green ones. I could be wrong, though. But anyway. 1 second. You can actually attach a sort of backpack to them, and they can carry stuff for you if that's of any consequence. Okay, Slimeling. That's her name. You can use any slime you want. But anyway, I typically don't bother with them. Anything I want in the backpack, I'll just leave in my inventory. In a backpack. And might as well clean up a bit. Now you can see I essentially replicate my base from the moon. Now, like what we did on the moon, we're going to use a dungeon locator and look for a dungeon. And while we're doing that, you can sightsee while I'm floating around on this red planet. Oh, well, that was a lot quick. I was expecting to take a long scenic route. Might as well show you a bit around. But there's no life here. There aren't any Mars villagers or anything of that sort. No Martians. And you can still find meteoric iron here. Well, meteorites. The atmosphere is still thin here. But anyway, might as well get weapons and head on down. Look out below. Now, except for being green, this isn't actually too much different from the moon dungeon. Oh, forgot arc lamps. However, the main difference is the boss, essentially. I'll illustrate how to find him when I find him. Fragmented carbon, I'll cover that eventually. You can just craft coal or charcoal into fragmented carbon. It's a valuable resource when you're trying to make your own fuel. I'll get to that eventually. It's a material you need for a tier 3 rocket, amongst other things. The boss room. And he's gonna walk right into it. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention. Any boss that you face here, well, on the moon and other places, it'll despawn and return with health if you leave and then re-enter the room. And in the 1.7.10 version, if you defeat the boss, then, well, that's it. You'd have to find another dungeon to find another boss. Now, you can prepare for this by preparing for explosives. You see, this is an evolved creeper boss. And to attack him, you have to actually hurt him like you did with the Hydrasaur and gas by knocking his own TNT back at him. Somehow he spews it out of his mouth. I don't know how, he just does. But anyway. And that's where we're going afterwards. Okay, that's better. All I have to hit is, it has to essentially hit his hitbox. I don't know why it's so laggy today. I didn't add another mod or anything. The one on the Mars, this particular version of the evolved creeper boss is rather easy. But anyway. In the More Planets mod, in the early versions, they sort of reused him as, say, the Diona boss and so forth. Although I think they changed that. The one Diona was rather difficult, in my opinion, but anyway. I think you have to sort of stay back so you can get the angle right. Generally aim for his chest. For some reason, the hitbox doesn't include all of his head. I think the lag is probably making it a little easier, but anyway. Because normally he's faster. Don't know why only one of his heads has a helmet. I mean, seriously. In order to breathe, you would have to normally have a space helmet on all your... well, any and every head. Let's just put it that way. And he's almost down. Turn the volume down if you want to skip the scream. Boy, the lag is really bad. I really need to figure out what's going on. Hey, I want the key. Huh. Okay, at this rate, I might as well just... never mind, there he goes, I think. Imagine that, paper blowing up. Tier 2 dungeon key. Since it's black, it's a little hard to see, but anyway. Now, these are creeper eggs. If one of those TNT had somehow hit it, that would have broken up the shell, and a little baby creeper would have come out. They're really irritating, especially when there's a whole cluster of them. They can be a little harder to hit. Okay, and like before, just use the key to open it, and voila, you got yourself an automatic cargo rocket. And if you do this a couple of times, you can actually get the tier 3 rocket, but as you can tell, it's sort of easy. Although I seem to remember it being harder, even for this guy. But anyway, I'll try and head home and show you a couple more things. I may have forgotten when used for the meteoric iron. Oh wait, that's right, I need to show you something here on Mars. Okay, 1 second. Luckily this giant cavern was nearby, but if you have it on hard or something, a plethora of monsters can appear here. And it looks like they're string at distance, but anyway. Now, fair warning, those vines are toxic. If you step in them, you'll get a poison effect. And you don't want to step near that sludge. Let me show you why. Huh, that's odd. Let me check the difficulty. Yeah? It must require me to be in survival mode. Oh well. Oh, that's it. That was the trigger event. Essentially, you get a bunch of silverfish sludgelings that are irritating as all get out. And this is one of the reasons why you'd want to come here. This dish. If I can get that. Yeah, right? This unrefined dish can be smelted and used for your next rocket, and amongst other such things. Okay, now I think I can go home. After refining the unrefined dish by smelting it, you can compress it like so into compressed dish, and then compress it again in a tier 3 heavy duty plates for the rocket. And you can craft it with these materials. The only thing you've used before essentially is a tier 1 booster. All the others are tier 3 variants in this case. You can craft the nose cone like so, a heavy nose cone, 4 heavy rocket fins, and the rocket engine, a heavy one. and then you go here and you craft it like so. Now I'll go some places with the tier 3 rocket eventually, but for now I'll just place it down here. Oops. And let the fuel lower take care of it. But anyway, on to the next thing. Now, one of the other things you can do with Dash is create the thermal, isothermal fabric, in which you can create the tier 2 cloth that you saw me wearing earlier in the last video. You can also create an atmospheric valve. I'll get into its uses momentarily. But anyway, oops. Oh. Now, one thing you can do is craft a cargo rocket. Let me show you. You craft it with these materials. And trust me, you're going to want 3 chests with this. I guess I forgot to mention this earlier. Well, no, that's right. It requires something called a launch controller. You couldn't craft this before because you wouldn't have had Dash, essentially, for creating the launch controller. Now, I'll have to let fuel up, but you can also craft a cargo loader, which is right here. You can tell it from the unloader by the green ring around the chest. And this is the unloader. It can go across multiple dimensions, and I think as long as the modded dimensions have a sky, they can be accessible by this too. Wouldn't go someplace like the Nether, that's a cave system or something. And, oh, it's already loading. Okay, good. This was full. Let's just say that you want to go someplace and send a lot of fuel there or something. Once it is full of fuel, you can launch it by clicking the button or by sending this. You can choose how you want it to operate. And no, I don't want it to take the launch pad off with it, because I've already got a launch pad over here ready for it waiting. And another thing, this is essentially its ID. This is controller number 1. And this is number 2. And it's supposed to send this rocket back to, well, 1 here when it's done. Right? The way this is going to work, it's going to send the cargo rocket there and back, hopefully, upon the press of these buttons that I have on top. Okay, I'll just skip ahead and let you see what happens when it's full. Okay, good, it's full. It takes 2,000 millibuckets worth of fuel. And if I'm not mistaken, so is the tier 2 rocket, and I think the tier 3 possibly takes 3. Okay, maybe just 2,000. But anyway. Just something to think about if and when you're having to mess with fuel. Now I can just press the button. Sorry, lag. Oh, and one important thing. If you ever say, like, you started your launch from a rocket and you realize you forgot your space breathing gear or forgot a parachute, and you've already started the rocket and it's already started the launch sequence. Okay. Sorry. Don't whatever you do, don't just exit the rocket unless you can do it within 20 seconds, because you're going to lose the rocket if you just dismount. It'll launch off without you if you aren't careful. Now it should be coming back anytime soon. The only reason why I have this elevator was just so I could have the hopper take things from here to here. You can do similar for this if you so want. The button doesn't have to be on top. It can be on any side. It was just for illustration. Well, okay, I'm sorry, wrong thing. Sometimes my brain's in the wrong place, but my heart's in the right place. But anyway. Now it should be coming back down like it went up, just slower. Eventually. And one thing's for sure, you're going to eventually want these controllers for your expedition into the asteroid belt, because it's more random of where you launch there. I'm sorry, where you land there. Okay, you probably get the idea, though. Okay, I'll skip ahead a bit, just to save time. Okay, here it is. Oh, that must have been it. I'm sorry, the lag must be a result of something else I downloaded, unrelated to Minecraft, but all the same. Now, this should be active. There it is. The speed hopper was just taking. Voila. So it can work with hoppers. Now, for the sake of being able to see how it works, you can just see it popping up here from this thing's inventory. And it only took a little bit of fuel. Well, yeah, only a little bit. Fuel lowers getting to it, but anyway. That's how essentially that works. But since we're talking about fuel, I might as well show you how to mass produce it. 1 second. In the mining dimension, I set up something that you'll be interested in. First, we'll need 2 gas liquefiers. I'm sorry, 3 right here. And this is a liquid manipulator, gas oxygen tanks, vent, pipe, decompressor, and compressor. The fluid manipulator is crafted like so. The meteoric iron here. And I don't know why that includes cyan, but that is as it is. And then you're going to need 9 methane synthesizer. And, okay, let me check one thing. Okay, 1. You're going to need 24 of these water electrolyzers. An electrolyzer is essentially something that separates the water molecules, hydrogen and oxygen. And you're going to need the hydrogen from water, and then you're going to turn it into methane gas that, like I said earlier, you can simply craft from common coal or charcoal. And once you've got methane, you're going to have to use the methane liquefier to turn it to gas. Now, technically, you can do like I did before and just use the replacer bacterium to mass produce it, even though this does seem to require a lot of energy and all. But once you get it set up, it's not that hard. Now, it's 16 coal generators for the electrolyzer, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 coal generators. So 26 here. And then 4, and then 2 in the next. Sorry, it just takes a lot to get just this much here. Each one can hold 2,000. I'm sorry, 4,000. 2,000 each tank. 4, 8, 12,000 mill buckets of fuel. And that's how much it takes to load up a fuel loader. So, that's just something to think about. Now, there is something else I also thought of showing you that isn't directly related to Galacticraft, but if you want to mass produce a lot of materials, you can use this sort of device to create a ton of water that you can change to, say, copper, aluminum, etc., etc. You can hook up this quarry to Galacticraft power generators. I found out lately that you can do that. You can even do it without cord if you want to. I'm sorry, wire. They can connect directly to the block in question that needs power. Sorry, I didn't know in the first video about this. I just recently found out myself. But anyway. It would take some time, but the wire chickens would fill up these dispensers with the one-off wire eggs. And it would take some time to show you, but there's a way to send a signal down below such that the dispensers would start opening up their water supply. Now, what happens is this goes to that side and dead ends, and then the signal from here loops around the whole thing, up and up. It would take some time, and even without lag and probably other mods, it would still take some time. Now this is the key part. I had trouble getting the corners to go to the next, side without having to accidentally disconnect them by having a solid block here. The slabs here solve that issue. There is something in the next corner, although luckily the problem didn't present itself in the other corner here. Essentially, I had to sort of offset it from, say, only two sides spawn wire at any given row. Oh, sorry, glass. Guess that's one reason it wasn't invisible. Okay, it's this side and this side that start off with. That's the side that dead ends, and then the other signal loops around there and then steps up to this row. And a repeater is behind this particular dispenser block, but because this particular dispenser is receiving from a redstone repeater, this one receives a signal that's output directly to the block itself. And hence, it sort of helps too, but anyway. And that helps activate the one above it. I tried having just bricks or something in between the dispensers, and that didn't work. In order to increase the height of the wire better, I'd have to have a straight row up of dispensers. And the speedy hoppers off to the side fill them up. And it's okay to have a space in between two source blocks of water. They can generate more water that way, but it wouldn't work the up direction. And that quarry block, once this area is full and has a ton of copper or something, you would have to sort of destroy the block and then reapply replace it and reapply any upgrades, including the size of the quarry. And I actually had it set up to where it would go to this interface for this warehouse and output any blocks that it collects to here in storage. And believe me, it's got enough room. Now, if I got enough questions, I would probably, questions about how to actually build this, I'd probably show you in a separate video, but digging out this place alone would be a hassle. And then construct it, yeah, it took me a few days to get right, to be sure. Now, I also have the fence post just to make sure that no wire escapes or anything crazy like that. I have a few extra hoppers from these wire chickens to help create a constant supply. These particular, the first row of chickens here around the place wouldn't provide a constant supply, but these particular chickens would help supply a constant, supply of these eggs. Now I put on each side, see how there are two separate lines of hoppers here? Each row of hoppers has 25 chickens hooked up, so a total of 50 there. Now as to the resources of this place, you're going to need a lot of speed hoppers. You can use auto crafters for that, along with a lot of redstone. Storing in blocks is just a more compact way of storing it. And on a side note, I actually found this extreme cobblestone generator. Just water. Cobblestone generator. Guess I should have thought. I did. It's crafted like so, and it's just called a cobblestone generator. It can pretty much receive energy from any source block of energy. Galacticraft, ancient warfare, whatever. And you can use that for dispensers. Believe me, it'll come in handy. And you'll also want a bunch of redstone appears to keep that signal alive. Oh, and the space in between dispensers wasn't just for simply the hoppers. By design, I needed to keep the redstone signal alive while it's going around the building. And hence, having a repeater between each piece of redstone that's activating dispensers helps with that. That's key too. And technically you can use stone bricks or any other blocks that you want. It's not critical to have the bricks as bricks. You can use whatever you want. But by the time you dig out this area, you're going to have a ton of cobblestone, which can be used for, stone bricks. But anyway. You can also use an auto breeder, for these chickens to mass produce them. Ancient Warfare provides these particular crop farms, and I can, supply seeds to it rather easily. I have grid hoppers hooked up. And you're also going to want probably roosts for the water chickens that are supplying up here. These are roosts. And hence, you can use the wheat from the crop farms to actually make the roosts. And you can mass produce the wood here. Okay, that seems to be it. The next part in the Galacticraft series will actually be the asteroid belt. And like I said, the landing there's a little more random there, hence you're going to want the launch controllers. But for now, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you all for watching.